Let's now move to India's Jammu and Kashmir, where the situation is tense as terrorists continue to target civilians in brutal attacks. With the number of victims being minorities or non-locals, the attacks have sparked fear among civilians. Terrorists have targeted and killed 11 civilians in Kashmir Valley over the past 2 weeks. On April 4th, there was a spate of terrorist attacks in the valley in which a Kashmiri Pandit, 1 CRPF personnel were killed and 2 migrant workers were injured. We have a report. The year 1990 saw a vicious hate campaign against the Kashmiri Hindus in Kashmir Valley. A culture of impunity created over the years, backed by religious fanaticism, led to their genocide. And the story did not end there. The brutal target of the native inhabitants still continues today. This time the victim is Balakrishnan, an innocent Kashmiri Pandit shopkeeper in Shopian district. Terrorists opened fire on him and injured his hand and leg. He was immediately rushed to an army hospital. After the recent incident, Kashmiri Pandits took out a rally to protest against the selective attacks on the Hindus by terrorists in the valley. Kashmiri Hindus raised anti-Pakistan and anti-terrorist slogans and demanded justice for their community member.
ये जो हमारा कैंडल लाइट प्रोटेस्ट है, यहाँ पे आज जो दरिंदों ने एक गिरोनी जो ये हरकत की है, एक आम इंसान पे गोलियां चलाई है, CRPF वालों पे गोलियां चलाई है, उसमें एक जवान शहीद हो गया। मुझे समझ में नहीं आ रहा है ये कौन सा जहाद है, कैसा जहाद है। इस महीने में तो शैतान भी बंद रहता है, लेकिन इन दरिंदों ने इस माही मुबारक के मौके पे एक आम इंसान को जो अपने फैमिली के लिए जहाद कर रहा था, जो बाहर से आया था अपने फैमिली के लिए, जो असल में जहाद कर रहा था, उस पे गोलियां चलाई। ये उसलिए हमारे और साउथ कश्मीर में भी कल से कुछ इनोसेंट लोगों पे गोलियां चलाई, 1-2 वहां पे भी कल शहीद हो गए, उसलिए हमारे।
The recent attack on Balakrishnan is just another addition to the list of continuous attacks on Kashmiri Pandits. Last year in October, Pakistan-sponsored terrorists shot dead a prominent businessman, ML Bindru, in Srinagar. In fact, in the same month, a government school teacher was also killed by terrorists after he urged his students to stand in attention during the national anthem. Not only did Balakrishnan become the victim of the recent terrorist attack, in 2 other incidents on April 4th, terrorists targeted 2 non-local labourers in Pulwama and opened fire on a CRPF personnel in Srinagar. Attacks on civilians in the Kashmir Valley have witnessed a spike in the last few months. In 2020, as many as 33 civilians and 56 security personnel lost their lives in terror-related incidents. While in 2021, the number of civilians killed stood at 40 and that of security personnel stood at 20. Of late, terrorist handlers sitting in Pakistan have changed their strategy as far as attacks and targeted killings are concerned. They are now concentrating mainly on soft targets.
Ever since the talk of return of Kashmiri Pandits was going on, and the Indian Parliament has also discussed this, Pakistan, to send out a clear message to these Kashmiri Pandits that they are not welcome into the valley, has targeted killings of Kashmiri Pandits. This again has raised a little bit of fear amongst them. All this is being done so that the Kashmir Valley seems to be unsettled. The people over there do not get into the complacency of having peace. Tourists don't come there. The business establishments don't function, and there is a sense of uncertainty that is there, so that Pakistan can use its propaganda that it has been using all these years to try to wean away the public of Kashmir.
Though there has been a spike in Pakistan-backed terror attacks in the valley, the Indian security forces have always managed to foil all the devious agendas of Islamabad. According to recent data produced by the Ministry of Home Affairs, a declining trend in terrorist incidents has been seen in Jammu and Kashmir, with a figure showing a downfall of almost 50% in the cases from 417 in 2018 to 229 in 2021. This is the reason behind the disappointment of the Pakistani establishment and Pak-sponsored terrorists in the valley. The brutal killings of innocent civilians and security personnel in Kashmir reflect the frustration among the terrorists and their mentors across the border. However, such barbaric terror attacks will not succeed in undermining Jammu and Kashmir development journey, as people in Kashmir will not let this conspiracy succeed.